Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
All right, welcome back to In the Side of the Storm, where we talk all things Cyclones. We are live from the AKC Marketing Studio with Andrew Downs and sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company out of Osceola, Iowa, and Dan Douglas with Green Beret Realty. I'm Dave Larson here with my Storm Team partner and Cyclone great, the legend, Marcus Pfizer. Marcus, how are you tonight?
Doing well, Dave. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Unfortunately, tonight we are missing Mr. Vintage, Brent Curvey, but for those of you who are seeking a vintage player, we have one on tonight as our substitute vintage guest. And this gentleman's Jacy Holloway, who had up to recently had the two best assist to turnover ratios in Iowa State history, was recently surpassed by a couple of future NBA guys that all of us are familiar with, Tyrese Halliburton and Monte Morris. Also, Jacy was part of 3 straight NCAA appearance teams from 95 to 97. So we welcome you, Mr. Substitute Vintage, Jacy Holloway. How are you tonight?
I'm good. Glad to be here and good to see Marcus again, too.
You too, Jay. If you're the substitute vintage, I'm knocking right behind you. So I don't know how much I feel about that.
Well, I'm definitely feeling vintage, turning 50 this year. So it's
wow.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, as we're talking about the vintage days, okay, I have to ask, what's your favorite Cyclone logo? We have a lot of debate on that.
It's funny you say that because as a screensaver on my MacBook, I have both of them. I have the, when I first started, it was that older, the clone,
side.
The other side, and then it turned into that, I don't know, mean looking one. I don't even know what they call it.
Twisty side.
Yeah. So I like those. The iState. They've made some good changes. I mean, I think it's all good. I also like people to remember the throwback, but I think all of them are good, to be honest.
As we're talking about throwbacks, Marcus loves to talk about the golden uniforms. Did you have a favorite as well? Yeah, I know you hated them. But.
Sorry, Marcus, that was kind of ours. That's when they came out. I think, was it my junior or senior year is when we got those, and we thought they were pretty cool. Dedrick and Sean and those guys,
Well,
and stuff. But
it wasn't too much of the style of the jersey. It was just the actual jersey, like made by Russell or something,
material.
or whatever. The material. And I mean, and warm up lines, it's sticking to you. And once the ball hits you, it's everywhere. So that's what I didn't like about
it. Yeah, I understand.
So Jacy, obviously you've been away from Iowa State for a while now. Tell us about your trip and what got you into Ames.
Oh my! How long is this?
it.
We can go as long as you want.
Well, I'll try to shorten it as much as I can, but I wasn't a McDonald's All-American, but in Kansas was considered somebody that everybody wanted throughout high school, especially my senior year. Got to a point that every junior college, Division II, small college, the K-State, KU, Wichita State didn't really want me that much. Wichita State recruited me a little bit. K-State wanted me to walk on, like a preferred walk on. KU, they had Jock Vaughn in the mix, so they kind of stopped sending me any information even. So Hutchinson Community College was kind of the premier junior college in the country, where the national tournament's at, and it was 20 minutes from my house. I spent a lot of time there, knew a lot of people that worked there, coached there, and so and both coaches that worked there recruited me for 2 years, junior and senior year. I kind of got found out by Iowa State assistant coach that was recruiting John Onchez out of Hutch, and they saw my name on the top of Hutch's recruit list, and it just kind of whirlwind spun off from there and started getting recruited. But it wasn't a lot of schools. I visited Oklahoma State. Coach Sutton, really respect him and everything that he did. An amazing career. He wanted me to go junior college as well. I was small, still not big, but I was definitely smaller then. And so they weren't sure if I could handle the grind of the Big Eight. But after that, North Texas offered me a scholarship, and then it was Iowa State. That was it.
And that's Iowa State under Coach Johnny Orr at the time, right?
Yeah, Johnny Orr, his staff recruited me, and just came in late. It helped that our state tournament all 4 years was held at Bramlage Coliseum in Manhattan. And so, what was the old coach for K-State? Old coach. He was kind of still around, but he went up to the Big Eight tournament, which was the same weekend, and talked to Johnny Orr a lot about me. Small town guy. Gosh, dang it! Get older, I can't remember these names, but he had a lot of good things to say about me, and kind of probably helped me get recruited without even knowing what he was doing. But that's the shortest version I can give you.
Okay. So we actually had some parallel years at Iowa State. I was there from fall of 90 to winter of 94.
Okay.
So you were probably freshman, sophomore seasons when I was there. What are some of your favorite memories of playing for Iowa State? And obviously you went through that transition from Coach Orr to Coach Floyd, who Marcus is obviously very familiar with. Tell us a little bit about your experience and some of your fond memories.
Before I say that, Jack Hartman was the coach. I don't know if you remember Jack Hartman at K-State, the legend there, but it's tough because I got to play with.
You had to Google that, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I just came.
Oh, it came to your mind.
I played with two different groups. Freshman, sophomore year was Fred and Lauren and Julius.
Hurl Beecham, Lauren Meyer,
James Hamilton, just a different group, and definitely Derek Hayes, Jason Kimbrough, who we came in together. Great friends of mine still to this day, but it was a different group. And then my junior and senior year was Kelvin Cato, Dedrick, Sean Bankhead, Kenny Pratt, Clay Edwards, Paul Shirley, some of the crossover with Marcus, some of the guys, Stevie Johnson, my senior year. But
you probably got Clay Edwards ready to beat up on Marcus Pfizer when Marcus was a freshman, right?
Well,
we talked about that a lot.
I know. I don't Clay a lot. We wanted Clay to be as big, whenever I was there as he was with Marcus. He I don't know. A lot of, I just think about the teams and the times that I spent with those teams and teammates. We had our run. We got the Big 8 championship was probably the most special for me, just because growing up, I grew up an OU fan and really didn't like KU growing up. Most of my friends will tell you that I'm okay watching a KU game as long as they lose. So that was a good game, a good tournament there for us. That's probably the most memorable is my junior year, the run in the Big 8 tournament. Just all three games were dogfights. They were down to the wire. Nebraska right off the bat. They went on to win the NIT that year, and then Missouri second round, and then KU won by 1 point. So that was probably most.
Let's not forget you guys are the last and final Big 8 champions of that tournament too.
Yeah, that's pretty special to be able to talk about.
So what are you up to today? And I guess I did a sneak peek to try to do a little bit of research beforehand. So I've got a sort of a follow-up question that's related to Cyclones. But okay. Why don't you tell the audience what you're up to now?
Well, let me. I'll just kind of give a history. After I left Iowa State, I got into coaching junior college. I coached junior college for 4 years, 3 at Garden City Community College, 1 at Fort Smith, Arkansas. And then decided to go back and start a family. Came back to Garden City, got out of the college ranks, got into high school. I was assistant coach for about 5 years. Took over as head coach and was head coach for boys at Garden City for 11 years. And then now I'm in my 4th year, head girls coach at a smaller school about 30 minutes from Garden City. And also activities athletic director, junior high and high school. So busy.
Nice.
So do your athletes know and connect you to Iowa State, or has it been too long ago? I mean, after all, you won the Big 8 tournament title. You're a champ. You went to 3 NCAA tournaments.
Well, here's the funny part, and Marcus probably knows this a little bit, knowing me, but their parents tell them I don't. I'm probably humble to a fault. Probably would still be coaching college basketball if I wanted to promote myself, and I just don't want to do that. I'm going to do my job and do it well, but I don't need people to talk about it. And so I don't spend a lot of time doing that, but definitely the kids know. And it is funny when they go back and look at the very few videos that are on YouTube, but you can search and find some of, and I can always tell when they've done their research and they come ask me some questions, but they probably don't truly know because I don't really tell them a whole bunch.
The fun part be when they think they can outshoot you. That'd be the fun part.
Hey, it's funny you say that because I still have that with my sons and their friends, and I tell them, I said, I'm 50. You might have me maybe when I'm 70. And I can still talk a little trash and
I had my boys say, man, ain't no way he's supposed to shoot like that. He a big. Like, man, do you know how close this high school 3-point line is?
Yeah.
Man, that's a layup. That's the fun part.
And here's a photo I found of you two together. It looks like it was taken in 2018. Jacy, you get up to Ames very often?
For a while there, I was getting up there with my coaching staff, my assistant coaches and friends that I know coach. I'd bring them up to a game every year, and we did it about roughly 9 or 10 years in a row. The last few years have been a little bit rough. Being athletic director, it's hard for me to get away. Pictures struggling.
And you did say you are closer to 50 now, so a long drive.
About 9-hour drive is what it is.
Oh, wow, is it?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, that's a nice hop. Like Marcus Jr. is at CSI in Idaho. Did you go up there? And it's not even 9 hours from here in Vegas. Like, that's a long drive.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, you wouldn't think that.
So Jacy, as a coach now, that's something that you're now passionate about, and you mentioned being an athletic director. Are there things that you've taken away from your prior coaches and stops along the way, and particularly Coach Orr, Coach Floyd, that you have adopted and integrated it into your coaching style?
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a fault of mine. I never feel like I've done enough. I never feel like I'm settling for what I did the previous year coaching wise. So I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to expand. I changed my practice plan too much, probably just because I'm trying to, not necessarily perfect it, but always try to make it better. So you say that, like, I had a really good high school coach, and I'm not just saying that because he left with 6 state championships after he retired 2 years ago. 4 whenever I was there, 1 before, one after, shortly after me, and then his last year he retired on a state championship. But really good coach. And then Coach Orr, all the assistant coaches that worked for Coach Orr had something different that they brought to the table, and that I was like a sponge. I took everything in. Coach Floyd's staff, it changed even from the first year to the third year, and it just, So to answer that, I've stolen parts of all of the coaches that I've worked with or played for or even worked with as well.
That's something that you and Marcus share, that transition from one coaching staff to the next. What was that like to shift from Coach Orr? That, I think of Orr's teams up tempo, pushing the ball, a lot of scoring. Defense was not as much of a focus, where Coach Floyd, there was a shift there. What was that like for you as a player on that on those teams?
It was kind of scary for all of us. I felt pretty comfortable to be able to adapt. But even Fred, they're going into their senior year. Fred, Lauren, Yulo, Hurl, James, like all those guys. You could tell that there was, unease, especially at the beginning. But it was a drastic change. We were pretty free spirited in my freshman year, pitch it ahead and I don't know what that word you said, defense. It was a mention my freshman year and sophomore year and on, definitely defense, run as much offense as possible, and then at 10 seconds we'll decide what we're going to do. It was a change.
You had some very successful teams, though, that eventually led to, it was those 3 straight tournaments and some really big games, both in the Big 12 tournaments and then in the NCAA. What was that like being a freshman? And I know that season wasn't quite as successful, but there had to have been a lot of pressure being a freshman point guard with teams of, the Hoibergs and the Lauren Myers and those upperclassmen. What was that like trying to fit in to that culture and to those players that had seen success at Iowa State?
Yeah, the freshman year was probably the toughest. It was kind of a split time with Jason Kimbrough and I. We took turns starting, took turns playing minutes, and that one was pretty tough. Those juniors that you mentioned were they were good leaders. They did a good job bringing us along. It was nice to be able to throw to those 3 guys. They both, or all 3 of them, averaged over 20 points a game, which is crazy. 3 guys over 20. So it's easy to just say,
you don't see that as much anymore.
No, like it was, hey, throw us the ball. And I said, no problem. Take the pressure off me and give it to you guys. But, it's I probably had a little bit better AAU background than people might think. The AAU team, is way different now, definitely. But whenever I played, we had 10 guys go play, at least mid-major or high major. So we had a solid team. Chad Alexander went to Oklahoma State. We had the mid-major UTSA. I remember a kid from small town. We were small town Kansas kids, and 10 of our 11 went on to play and do well in college. So we were a solid team. We went to Kansas City and played against all the big time AAU programs, and so we got exposed to more than what people think going in. So I was somewhat prepared, but it's still a different level.
We've talked on the show a little bit about the role that NIL has had in today's game, and Marcus and Brent have both talked about their sons and the expectations that they have. Like, hey, you put your name on put your pen to a paper and signed up for this, and you get what you get, earn it. Now, don't expect to just start, don't expect to play a lot. You've got to go out and earn it. What, going back 30 years with that change in the regime between Coach Orr and Coach Floyd, would you have put yourself in a position to consider transferring if it were the NIL that we know today and the transfer rules that are in place today?
That's hard. That's a tough question, because you never know. I mean, I would like to think how I was raised, probably not. My parents, I don't know if I don't know if I'd be alive if I asked to transfer. Like they would have said, no, this is where you committed to. This is where you go. This is, and just a background story on that. Let me tell you, the summer before my freshman year, I went up and had the chance to work camps and get to be around the university, but I was by myself. There was nobody else there, but besides the older guys, and Iowa State just lost 2 all Big 8 guards in Ron Bayless and Justice Thigpen, and they were up there, and I was in the rec, not the PEB, not Forker,
right?
The rec on those sports, but
right.
And Ron Bayless was all defensive first team, and I remember the first 2 games. I think I turned it over every single time I touched it because he was good. He was that good, and it was tough, and I felt out of place for a little bit, and I called my mom, and she's no longer with us, but she could tell you that I said, Mom, I need you to come get me. I can't play here. I can't do it. And I won't use all the
vernacular she used.
Without all those, she said, no, you're going to stay up there and you're going to do what you need to do to get it done and take care of what you need to get, good enough or whatever you need to do to make it happen. And there was no coming to get you. And she said, no, like your dad and I, we're down here. You're up there. We're coming to get you when it's time to come get you. Figure it out. And I think she maybe even hung up on me. So, that's the way I was raised, though, and I do think that helped, me fight through it. Ron Bayless, I went to him and I said, hey, like I need some help. Like what's going on? And he's like, here, like, and he worked with me afterwards because he's like, you're here, you're a Cyclone, so I'm gonna help you out.
Man,
that's a great story.
To like expand on that, like I remember the first time my freshman year playing against Hurl, they just came back and like, what the hell? I mean, every time he touched it, it was like, and I'm, me, I'm the McDonald American. I'm coming. Yep. Man, it was him and Fred on the court together.
Yeah,
I think we played 15 games and we didn't win out of one.
Yeah,
and so it's that whole realm of like now you understand this different level, especially of veterans and upperclassmen that's been there and had been there for a while. It's like, man, I got to figure this out. I got to try to figure this out some way. Stevie wasn't trying to help out. He was, had been there a year, weight room and all that. Man, it was tough. It was real tough. I don't think I called my dad though, but I mean, I'm from Louisiana, so that's a little bit farther. I knew they weren't coming to get me, so I was just there.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You talk about the differences. You really did play for two different types of teams in your time, your first 2 years and then your second 2 years. But your role seemed to be pretty consistent. Just take care of the ball, get the ball down the court, and distribute. Was that sort of the edict from the coaching staff that, hey, here's where we see your role, knock down a shot every so often? Because I remember you as being that steady guy that would knock down a three, wouldn't shoot a ton, but when you did, it was on point, would make great passes. I was always remarked about how your facial expressions never seemed to change, just that consistent, steady player.
Yeah, it was what I needed to do. I will say, my freshman year probably molded me into that a little more than if I didn't have those three, or if we did played a different style. Like Marcus said, about talking about shooting and these young guys tried to challenge me, and definitely the ones that watched me play or had heard about how I didn't shoot very much. They're the first ones to say, "Oh, well, man, you didn't even shoot the ball. I'll take you on." But little do they know, I averaged 26 points my senior year in high school, and probably could have averaged more if I would have played more than 3 quarters. But
well, and you're a really good free throw shooter too, especially your senior year. I think you're 85% clip.
Yeah. So it was something that it was tough, but it was what I felt was most beneficial to us winning games. And I had this conversation with a friend of mine 2 days ago that I had a group in high school and a group in college that I felt hated to lose more than we wanted to win. And I know, Marcus will understand that definitely as a player that, everybody's like, oh, I want to win. Well, yeah, you want to win, but if you hate to lose, you're going to do whatever you can to not have that feeling. And that's what it was for me. If it was diving on the floor, throwing it to all the other guys that I threw it to get them to score, that's what I was going to do.
in your sophomore season, we talk about free throw shooting and scoring. Again, you did when you had to, and that resulted in knocking down a couple of free throws at the end of the Florida game. Is that the sophomore?
That was my
sophomore season?
That was my sophomore year. Yeah. That was it was another question that actually came up with our radio. We have a guy that does our games on YouTube, live streams them. And, he asked me after the game because he mentioned something. We had a tight game and girl had to, shoot some free throws in a clutch situation. And he asked me about it, and I brought up that one. That was my sophomore year, late in the game against Florida, second round or first round of the tournament, and knocked him down. And he said, "Man, how do you do that?" And I said, "Well, you got to learn how to block everything else out. You can't hear the crowd. You can't even hear your teammates. Just block it all out."
Where did you learn that skill? Because you're right. I mean, you played in some pretty intense environments, and one of which I want to talk a little bit about with Fog Allen. But how were you able to build that skill set?
Practice. I don't know. I really don't. It just kind of probably came natural for me. Ultra focus, possibly. Maybe just being able to concentrate, on one thing and just put everything else aside in my mind. So
one of the things that we're seeing out of really the last couple of seasons in the Cyclone squads is there's been this transition of the conference, right? From the Big 12 to the new Big 12 and some new teams that are coming into the league. What was that like for your teams to transition from the Big 8 to the Big 12 and then bringing on some of the teams that you saw after playing in the Big 8 forever?
I think maybe a little more personal for me growing up in it. Most of the other guys that were on the team, besides the ones that were already there, Fred and Lauren that were, Iowa guys and been around it. But, the Michigan kids that we had, Chicago kid, for them, it probably wasn't, as big a deal. But I grew up a Big 8 fan pretty much from get-go of learning about basketball. That's what it was. It was Big 8 for me. And so it was tough a little bit to welcome some of those Texas schools right off the bat. And it, felt like they were outsiders for sure.
Well, and they proved themselves to be outsiders. All right, I want to take a quick commercial break and then come back. I want to talk a little bit about this year's team. And I think that there's some parallels between both of your squads that we're seeing start to play out this year. And let's go ahead and we'll hear a quick word from both of our sponsors.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com. When energy meets precision, anything is possible.
I'm Carter Holloway, the Chief Energy Officer of the Iowa State Cyclones. I'm full of energy on and off the court, but nothing gives me more energy than helping families find their dream home. And that's where Green Beret Realty comes in. They're more than just realtors. They're a team dedicated to getting things right for you and your family, just like we get it right on the court. Sometimes it takes a team to get the call right. And when you're buying a home, you want a team that makes all the right calls. That is Green Beret Realty. And here's the best part. When you buy or sell a home through Dan at Green Beret Realty and mention this ad, he'll make a donation to the We Will Collective, helping student athletes like me thrive on and off the court.
Green Beret Realty, because getting the call right means everything.
All right, we are back on Inside the Storm, and we have our guest Jacy Holloway on with us, and got my bottle of Revelton here. Jacy, have you come up I-35 and pass through Osceola on your way to Ames?
Yeah. Yep.
I might recommend stopping in for some Revelton on your way on your next trip. So I was actually down there a couple of weeks ago and saw Rob and Christy. They were hosting Chris Shipley, who was had a special episode of Old Man Strength. If you've not seen or heard the recording yet, he had Jason Norton with Drinks with Jason. If you've not seen Drinks with Jason, go out on TikTok or YouTube and Facebook Reels. He's all over the place, but has some funny things on there. And if you do the podcast version, you can obviously listen to it at double speed like I do. So guys, getting back to some basketball, the team seems to be a little bit of a funk with Milan Momcilovic, his injury, which I understand he finally got the brace off today. And so he's going to start some activities as he works to start coming back. But what are some of the things that you are seeing out of this team that, they're excelling at that high level that both of your teams saw during your playing days? But what are some of your takeaways that you've seen thus far?
Oh, well, obvious that everybody in the country talks about their defensive pressure, ability to create turnovers that lead to transition points and points off turnovers. The last game was a little frustrating. My family, my house is a Cyclone house, and watching it with my kids and had to walk out of the room a few times, but they're fun to watch. They play so hard. I mean, that's what I'm impressed with. That's what I enjoy. All of them just next guy up kind of deal. Sometimes it's one person's night and sometimes not, especially like the post players, and I won't name all names because I don't want to mess it up, but they just kind of take turns stepping up and making something happen. That's Taman Lipsey as a point guard. I enjoy watching him. He's definitely more of a scorer than I was, but he does some great things, and I'm going to continue to cheer win or lose. So it's just fun. It's funny that you say kind of in a funk and they got 3 losses. So
yeah. Well, but I think we've lost 2 of the last 4 games. So when I say funk, and you're right, that was a disappointing loss on Monday night. And for you, Marcus, you're probably thinking, hey, this is a perfect time for me to watch being out in Las Vegas. For us, I'm looking at the clock going, not overtime, not now.
So like I said, the youngest been sick, and when she's sick, they kick me out of. He literally kicks me out of the bed with my wife, and she sleeps with my wife, and I go sleep in one of the other rooms. And so it had gotten late. I put her down or whatever, and it was getting close to, Josh missed that first free throw and made that second one. And so, okay, it's got to be a half-court heave to even go into overtime. So I was walking out of the room and I stopped and I turned and looked. My wife was watching it too. I'm ready to get the win, go into the other room, turn on TV. Man, I let out the loudest proverbial fuck. I mean, as soon as it went in, I just sat down at the end of the bed. I was like, this is not going to be good. Because anytime you make a shot like that, It's like, come on, man, come on. Is that one of the Jacque Wall shot in Colorado? Once he made that shot, I was like, this is about to be some tough overtime, man.
Yeah, you know a little bit about that, don't you?
Oh my goodness! It's like you want to get that win and get the hell out of there. But once he made that shot, I just knew. Then I said to myself, maybe I should have kept walking, and it wouldn't have gone in. But that's how it goes. I mean, the guys are playing. We know the conference is tough. You're going to get into this conference. You're going to run into some juggernauts that you don't necessarily run into. I don't care what name is on the front of their jersey in the season before the conference starts. Once you get into the Big 12 conference, it don't matter. It's going to be a dogfight, especially on the road, wherever you go. So to play well throughout that game, to be close, and then, to kind of lose it at the end for whatever reason is definitely, heartbreaking. But hopefully we learn from it. We can build off of it, and, we just understand and know that it's not going to be a cakewalk in this conference at all. Never.
And Jacy, you talk a little bit about the point guard play. I would agree. I think that I could draw some parallels between you and Tamin Lipsey. Tamin, he's not known to be a scorer. Yes, he can score when he needs to, but it's all the other things that he provides out on the court as a field general that add so much value that you just can't put a number to.
Yeah, he's definitely a leader out there, and I mean, I think that's one advantage they have. I feel like they got all three guards, especially now that he's not coming off the bench anymore. But all three of them can be leaders, and all at the same time. That's pretty special to have. But I do feel like Tamin, that's where I'm gonna compare myself as, he's a guy that's, same size as me and out there doing work, and it's just fun to watch.
Well, truth be told, all Marcus can talk about are the big. So we got to have someone to offset and talk about the little guys.
I talk about my guards too, but I mean, I'm going to be big bias.
Well, and that's point guard, point guard like a quarterback, you got to take care of the big guys and talk them up. And I spent a lot of time doing that. If something bad happened, it's my fault, not theirs. So I understand how it works.
Once that ball hit Jamal Tinsley's hand, I was going. Stacy used to rewind it. Talking about, look, it's like candy to him, and you could just see him rewind it, and just me just leaving out past everybody. He just keep rewinding it. I'm like, man, what you want me to do? I'm like, I know the ball is coming right there. What else am I supposed to do but run? That's the game.
Well, and offensively, we look so much different, spacing, everything when that 3-point shot's going in. And, when Tamin was lighting it up in the first half, I thought, oh, this is going to make things quite interesting. Unfortunately, the 3-point shooting fell off a little bit, and it was just a dogfight for, the entire game. One of the players I want to point out is Demarion Watson. I mean, he's just come in the last couple of 2-3 games and added a certain level of athleticism. Not the greatest shooter, but he'll make some shots. But I love his offensive and his defensive presence and just the athleticism that he's bringing to this team now. What do you do moving forward with when Momcilovic comes back? What do you do with Curtis Jones? Do you put him back on the bench? What do you do with Demarion Watson? What do you do with Nate Heisey?
Yeah, almost too many guys, huh? I will say that
that's a horrible problem to have.
Yeah, maybe my sophomore year was a little bit like that, but my junior and senior year we didn't play a bunch of guys, so I'm not too familiar with this situation, but definitely creates an issue. Management of the team and coaching and trying to make everything fit together and everybody happy. these days is going to be tough.
So your senior year, you had the Floyd only goes 6 or 7 deep because you played a ton of minutes.
Yeah, Dedrick and I think were probably at least top 5 minutes played in the league. It was crazy. We didn't come out very much. 7. We probably played 7. A good number of minutes. 7. I wouldn't say. Our 8th one depended on a game.
But you probably didn't mind not coming out, right? I mean, that's what guards want to do. They want to play.
No.
Well, you get to a point where you're in good enough shape, and
Right.
and media timeouts. You learn how to play to them, and get yourself to a media timeout. So I never felt like I was completely, except for maybe a couple of times, exhausted enough that I even wanted to come out. But yeah, when to take breaks and not take breaks where it counts and stuff. So
is that something you go back to your players and say, I played 37 minutes a game, fellas, gals?
I try not to talk about it, but yeah, you guys are.
I don't want to hear you say you're tired.
Yeah, these teenagers. I didn't want to come out of it.
Hey, yeah. A fun question I think Marcus and I talked about a couple of weeks ago, but this came up during the broadcast. I think it was with you in the Utah game. But the question was asked, let's say that there's a trade. You can trade college players. I know it's not possible, but let's say you can. Between Taman, Keyshawn, and Curtis, and I'll tell you my answer after you answer, but who do you trade between the 3?
You're trying to get me in trouble with the team. Man,
it depends on your answer if you get in trouble.
Keyshawn's tough because he's wearing my number. I don't know.
He's keeping it alive, Curtis is keeping the guy on the others on the screen next to you alive too.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? It would probably be him. I know that's maybe not the most popular answer. I really like him. I think he does some good things. But I feel like the other 2 could maybe with a different maybe player, they'd still strive and do well. I don't know. That's a tough one. I can't obviously say Taman. You can't get rid of the point guard. So that's my pick.
Well, and I told you, I'd tell you my answer. It's, when you're a parent and you've got 3 sons that you love dearly, I would resign. I don't know that I could trade. Honestly, it's they all do things differently, and they're all so essential to the team. And we talked a little bit about Taman and the presence that he brings from that quarterback of the offense, and it's all the little things. It's the getting in the passing lanes. It's the passing. It's the defensive. It's the pressure. It's the making of the shots. He's got so much the guts, and Keyshawn has guts too. And he's that aggressive scorer. He's the guy that will take it to the hole. That some guards, they might not be so aggressive, and you need that type of athlete to go out there, and he gives everything he got that he has and plays with such passion. Then Curtis, for crying out loud, the guy is just lighting it up that I don't know where we would be without him at this point. And he's just, he's stuck around and he's, he went to Buffalo, he transferred in, and he's just been such an important piece to this team the last couple of years. My answer is I would resign.
Yeah. Nice trick question. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Keyshawn reminds me a little bit of, a guard, smaller version of Kenny Pratt. Marcus, he makes shots that you're kind of like, how did that go in? Like, how did he even get it off?
Flat footed.
Yeah,
Not even jumping. Like,
yeah, like, I mean, he's getting and ones, and the ball's going in, and it does remind you. You know, Kenny was the same way. Like we listed him at 6'4", and he was 6'2.5", and he was going up.
All right, yeah, I want to ask that question. So, how tall was Kenny Pratt? So, for those of you who remember, that guy was a massive rebounding. Like he got every rebound, it seemed like, and then just would put it right back. I bet he scored 20 points a game just by putbacks.
Oh yeah,
but he really wasn't that tall.
No, I'm not joking or exaggerating. 6'2.5". We measured him because we used to give him a hard time. You know, he Haley twins from Missouri, 7-footers, and he used to do work on them. 6'2.5", 4-man. And he'd just go down there and score on 7-footers.
Find those angles.
Yeah, he strongest hands.
I told him on the pod that KP almost made me quit because it came to Iowa State for that visit, and he had me play with you guys. Man, I told Coach Floyd, man, my back and my hips and stuff hurting so bad. I mean, every time the shot. I mean, we're playing a pickup game. He playing NCAA basketball.
Yeah.
Shot go up. He putting his butt into me, boxing out. I'm like, come on, man. I went back to the hotel, had so many back spasms, it was ridiculous.
Well, that's that hate to lose mentality. I was telling you. He didn't care what we were doing.
We ain't win one of those pickup games either.
Hey, I don't know if you're going to ask this question, but I better say something before my family watches this and gives me a hard time. I just want to talk about them just real quick. My wife and I, we have 8 kids.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
1 grandson, 1-year-old.
Whoa. You have a grandchild already?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I guess we're getting up there in that age. Right?
Yeah. So grandson,
I don't have any yet.
grandson at 1, and our youngest son is 4. So
wow.
We got a big gap of our oldest down to our youngest, and I've got a senior boy that's playing for our high school team. They're 11-1, and he's about 6'2.5". He's taller than me. And then I got a freshman boy, not quite breaking the varsity lineup, but he's going to. And then 8th grade daughter, and then 10, 8, and 6, daughter, son, and then the older ones that are 24 and 28, 24-year-old boy, 28-year-old daughter.
Wow. So at what age did you start putting a basketball in their hands?
You know, it helps to have the siblings that push them. But they see it, you know, they come to practice, they see me at games. I really haven't had to force them to do it. They all want to show dad how they can dribble, and it's you know, just through watching it and being around it, I think is the biggest thing. And I don't push them. So if they want to be good, we'll commit to it and we'll get in the gym. But you know, if not, they want to do something else, we'll do something else. So
have any of your older ones gotten into?
What's up?
Have any of your older ones gotten into coaching yet?
My oldest daughter, she was a manager for us whenever I was coaching when she was in high school. My other son, he's actually a ref. He officiates basketball, and so he does that
to the dark side.
I know it. I told him, I said, you put that shirt on, I don't like you, but make sure you take it off before you come in the house.
That's a lot harder than what people think.
What's that?
Yeah.
Reffing is a lot harder than what people think.
Yeah.
Like one of my ex-teammates, Smush Parker, he's working on, to play in LA and Cleveland. He's working on, trying to get to the NBA and with officiating. So he does a lot, around the nation. But he's like, man, it's tough. It's real tough. He's like, man, as much hell we gave these referees, he's like, man, I get it now.
Yeah, my son, the one that does it, he he does mostly sub-varsity stuff just because he likes to do it. He's not looking to make a career out of it. He just enjoys doing it on the side.
Well, and there's a shortage of referees and good referees, so I certainly applaud him and his willingness to go out and bear the crowds that are out there with mom and dads sort of living vicariously through their children. And I've done coaching. Both of you guys have been coaches, and it's a much different. Those crowds seem much different than they used to be.
Yeah. It's changed.
So coming back to the men, next game is Saturday. It's a home game against TCU, a whiteout game for those of you who may be heading up to Hilton Coliseum to watch that. And then we go back to the traditional Tuesday, Saturday schedule for pretty much the rest of the year, with a pretty big game coming up February 22nd at Houston. And then we do get a return game against Arizona. So we get a chance to see them again. And it should be interesting to see how that Big 12 schedule shakes or standings shake out. Right now, it really seems to be a 4-team race between us, Houston, Arizona now, Texas Tech, and maybe an outside shot at Kansas. Although, Jacy, you guys probably all don't really care much about Kansas anymore. So, the way it sounds.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be fun to beat them. Yeah.
Were you going nuts? Were you watching the Iowa State KU game on the big screen when they played?
Oh yeah. We try to make sure that we don't have anything else going on if we can, for sure.
Do you follow the women's program much?
Yeah, Coach Finley. I was there when he was there. I've talked to him a few times whenever I come back. Yeah, a little bit. There's a girl on the team from a smaller town in Kansas. About the same size of town as Mound Ridge that I went to. So yeah, I follow him a little bit.
Emily Ryan, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we've had her on the pod earlier this season.
And they have another Kansas girl, Addie Brown. She's from
Brown, that's right.
Bigger school in Wichita, but I know.
So, Marcus used to get have some spirited games against Megan Taylor at the rec center. Did you have any similar games against women, some of the women players during your day?
They were spirited. She used to beat me.
That was a good one. He was good.
I was trying to be nice about it, Marcus.
Nah, that wasn't spirited at all. She used to beat
me. Shooting competitions, we did a little bit of that. Yeah, it was fun. We were around them so much, we knew them so well. Yeah, it was occasional trash talk here or there, and shooting competitions for sure.
Marcus talks a little bit about playing at the different practice facilities, and his maybe least favorite was Hilton Coliseum to practice. Where was there a place on campus that you enjoyed practice more than others, and maybe one that you didn't enjoy quite as much?
Well, I actually listened to that podcast with Jake and heard Marcus say that, and I 100% agree with him. Practice in Hilton was something that you hoped wasn't on the schedule for a lot of reasons. We cold understatement. They how they'd leave the doors open on that ramp. You could feel it, and just
hate it.
It was so much tighter. We always called it the PE building, the PEB, but it was named Forker. It was just so much tighter, and you didn't have any distractions of people coming in very much. Not that we couldn't handle the distractions, but the coaches thought we couldn't handle the distractions, so they always tried to make a point of people being in there watching, and well, you better go hard because there's somebody here. Knowing that we went hard every time, but it was. Yeah. I was trying to think. we never practiced anywhere else. I was trying to think. I don't think we played pickups games at State Gym.
Right.
Never practiced there.
No, it's the exact same. Yeah.
What was the other one across from State Gym where the swimming pool?
I don't know. We just used to. I don't think we ever practiced in there. It was just pickup games too. But
Yeah.
I never even knew the name of that place. I just we just showed up there. But State Gym was probably we used to get out there and run on that dirt track behind it. that was 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Craziness. And then we used to do pickup games in the State Gym and stuff like that. I used to, so it had the plexiglass at the top and the board at the bottom that the rim was on. And I used to try to break it. I mean, crack it or something. And so, like, the people that work up in there, you say, we're going to tell Coach Floyd. So I don't care. Tell him. I used to try to break every single time, missing dunks, everything, ball bouncing all up in there, and just hard, just trying to break the rim because I hate it. Because it's just so cold in there. Like, why are we even here? But the actual practices, the Forker was probably the best.
Yeah.
Smaller court.
Yeah.
You can get away with a whole lot up in there. So definitely Hilton. Man, I couldn't stand.
No, I agree.
So how about favorite places to play? And maybe a secondary question. Fog Allen in Lawrence, is it just another gym?
No, it's not. I mean, if you know the history of basketball, it can't be considered just another gym. You can act like it. You can talk about it not being special, but even as somebody that's not a fan of KU, I'm a fan of basketball, and that's a pretty crazy special place. I really hated it because we always had to play them on senior night at their place. It was always scheduled against us. I think all 4 years it was their senior night for us, and so that was tough. Favorite place, I mean, Hilton has got to be number one. I know that's an easy answer, but if you're going to go on the road, I wasn't that fond of Colorado. Nebraska wasn't anything special. OU wasn't either. I mean, it wasn't even that great of crowds at OU. I didn't feel like they weren't real loud. Another tough place probably would have been Oklahoma State, Stillwater.
I never won
just because of the fans.
Yeah, they're just on top of you.
Yeah.
Well, I played in there where before they expanded it, they went and almost doubled the seating. When I played, it was only about 7,000 or 8,000, but that was jam packed. They went up higher with it and made more seats, but it was it was rough. It was loud. And Missouri wasn't a huge atmosphere game, but it usually was a tough game. We always had tough games there.
Those were always bad. When I think of tough Big 8 games, Missouri, because they had Norm Stewart at the time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then Colorado. I've never, as a fan, watching any team go to Colorado, football or basketball, it just seems it's never been a recipe for success. It just, for whatever it is. So it's interesting to hear you say that maybe was a place they didn't quite enjoy.
Yeah. Especially after getting beat by about 40 one night when Coach Floyd got tossed.
And
Really? That was at Colorado?
Yeah. And here's the worst part. So we played the game. We're just getting blasted. Coach Floyd gets tossed. It continues. It was 30 or 40 in my mind, in my memory. And then we left the game because I think it was an early game. And we went to a Denver Nuggets game as a whole team. We go to the game and they flash a picture or video. They get us on the big screen that we're at the game. And, oh, by the way, this is the score from earlier. It was, yeah, embarrassing.
Oh, were you all standing there wearing your Iowa State gear then too?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It was bad.
That probably was deliberate.
Yeah, it was.
well, Jacy, it's been just an absolute pleasure to have you on and go back and hearing stories about your days playing for the Cyclones and some of your experiences. And thanks for joining Marcus and I tonight. And to everyone else, again, thank you for joining us. It's really a privilege to be able to have everyone on listening to the podcast, subscribing to the YouTube channel for both Side of the Storm and Three Beards Media. And again, thank you to our sponsors, Revelton Distilling Company and Greenberry Realty. We certainly couldn't do this without you, and also to Andrew C. Downs and AKC Marketing. So thanks, everyone. Let's cheer on those Cyclones. We got some big games coming up this weekend. Women play tomorrow night at Kansas State. I think they're 10 or 11 in the country, and then they follow up with TCU this weekend. That is shaping up to, we get a chance to knock off two of the top teams, not only in the country, but certainly in the Big 12. So cheer on all the Cyclones, and we'll see you for our next episode of In the Side of the Storm. Go Cyclones.
Go Cyclone.
Yep.